Part 2 of this three-part series on the Blinkwater Pass deals with the section from the 3.6 kilometer mark to the 9th kilometer. The landscape through which the Blinkwater Pass runs is protected today as the Mpofu Nature Reserve. The reserve lies roughly 25 kilometers northwest of Fort Beaufort and covers about 7,500 hectares along the escarpment and valleys of the Katberg Mountains. The reserve was officially established in 1985 when the Eastern Cape authorities purchased land from families descended from the British settlers of 1820. The intention was to preserve the area's natural ecosystems while creating a conservation and tourism destination within the Amatola region. The reserve forms part of a larger conservation landscape that includes Fort Fordyce Nature Reserve and sections of the Amatola Mountains. Its terrain combines rolling grasslands, forested ravines and steep mountain slopes, creating a variety of habitats that support diverse wildlife. Among the animals found in the reserve are Cape buffalo, eland, giraffe, bushbuck, Burchell's zebra and blackback jackal, along with a rich variety of birds, reptiles and insects. The diverse ecosystems make Mpofu an important refuge for wildlife and an attractive destination for nature enthusiasts. In addition to wildlife conservation, the reserve preserves cultural and historical heritage. The surrounding region contains remnants of early frontier history, including sites associated with the 19th century frontier wars between colonial forces and the Xhosa kingdoms. Rock art created by indigenous Khoisan communities has also been found in parts of the Amatola landscape. Today, the Mpofu Nature Reserve is a popular destination for outdoor recreation. Visitors can enjoy hiking trails, bird watching, game viewing, and guided educational tours. The origins of Fort Beaufort trace back to the early 19th century, during a period when the eastern frontier of the Cape Colony was one of the most volatile regions in southern Africa. This was a place where cultures met and often clashed, as British colonial expansion pushed into lands long inhabited by Xhosa-speaking communities. The The first seeds of settlement were planted in 1816 when a missionary from the London Missionary Society, the Reverend Joseph Williams, established a mission station in the area. At the time, this was not yet a town, but rather a fragile outpost on the edge of a contested frontier. Just a few years later, in 1822, the British military moved in. Colonel Maurice Scott constructed a blockhouse near the mission station, creating a defensive position against Xhosa resistance led by the powerful chief Makoma. This marked the beginning of Fort Beaufort as a strategic military site. The fort itself was named in honor of the Duke of Beaufort, reflecting a broader pattern of British colonial naming, where places were often named after aristocrats or officials back in Britain. But Fort Beaufort was never just a name on a map. It stood at the center of a long and bitter series of conflicts known as the Cape Frontier Wars, which lasted almost 100 years. Throughout the early to mid-1800s, the Eastern Cape Frontier was a battleground. These wars, fought between British forces and Xhosa groups, were driven by disputes over land, livestock and sovereignty. Fort Beaufort became one of the key military strongholds in the struggle. After the Sixth Frontier War, which took place between 1834 and 1835, the British expanded the original blockhouse into a fully developed fort. It included barracks, guardhouses, a hospital and officers' quarters, transforming it into a permanent military hub. By 1840, a civilian town had begun to grow around the fort. Roads were built to connect it to other colonial centres, including Grahamstown, helping to establish Fort Beaufort as an important link in the expanding colonial infrastructure. For decades, Fort Beaufort remained a military outpost, with British troops stationed there until around 1870. But over time, the character of the town began to shift. Don't miss episode 3 of this series, where we conclude with the rest of the history of Fort Beaufort and its ironic renaming to Makoma almost 200 years later.